normally tagged in this Reader Problems book tag, I watched Cassidy Von Shea's video where she said anyone was free to do it because she didn't have anyone left to tag. Cassidy's link is in the information below if you want to watch her video as well. This book tag was also created by Tiffany at About to Read, and her information is below as well. Okay, so there are 11 questions on this book tag, and I will go through them and tell you about my confessions as a reader. Number 1, you have 20,000 books on your TBR. How do you decide what to read next? Yeah, this is sort of a problem because I do kind of have close to 20,000 books on my TBR, if we're in the land of exaggeration a little bit there. A lot of the times I'm just a mood reader, so I'm going to go through and I'm going to allow myself to read whatever kind of jumps out at me that day. Number 2, you're halfway through a book and you're just not loving it. Do you quit or are you committed? If I'm not really feeling it and I'm not yet at the 50% mark, I will go ahead and give up. If I've already passed the 50% mark, then at that point, it's probably better for me just to power through and finish the book. Something kept me going for the first half of it, so I figured that's enough to kind of propel me through the end, though that's not to say that I haven't occasionally also just given up on things. I also have a problem where I'll kind of pause a book and then never come back to it, but in my mind I'm telling myself that I've not given up on it, that I will come back to it one day. There are a few books that's still to be seen that I actually follow through on that with. All right, number 3, the end of the year is coming and you are so close to meeting your Goodreads reading goal. Do you catch up or do you just let it go? This actually happened to me this year. I set a goal of 100 books, which was a little bit higher than I normally would go, and like 1 week from the end of my goal, I was 8 books away from finishing it. Luckily, I was like all those half-finished books that I had sitting around the house, I powered through those, read a couple novellas, powered through some audiobooks, and managed to get it done because there was just no way that I could let it go that I was that close to the goal. But if I'd been at like 60 books, I would have just let it go. Sometimes you just can't make it happen. Number 4, the covers of your series do not match. How do you cope? This actually is not really a big problem for me. I don't really care if I like my series covers to match, but I've been burned so many times by getting the first book in a series and then they changed the other ones that I finally financially had to let it go that just wasn't going to be an option. To me, it's not as important that they match. And I know that a lot of people that are bookish people, that's really important to them. I don't know. I guess it's just not as big of a deal to me. Number 5, everyone and their mother loves a book that you don't like. Who do you bond with over shared feelings? Because I'm already in the book blogosphere, there's almost always somebody that's felt the way that I feel, so I can go and find their review and leave a comment and say, I felt exactly the way you felt about that. Or someone on Goodreads is feeling the way that I'm feeling. There's almost always someone who hates a book, no matter what the book is. And if all else fails, I will just complain to my boyfriend about it. And I think he is a very good listener, even if he thinks that it's a little frivolous for me to care so much. Number 6, you're reading a book and you're about to start crying in public. How do you deal? So, especially if I'm in public, they don't hit me as emotionally hard. It's more likely to make me cry at 3 o'clock in the morning when I'm in my bed. So I don't know that this has ever happened to me. Where this has happened to me before is listening to audiobooks in my car. And even though I'm alone in my car, when you pull up at the stoplight next to somebody else and you look like you've been sobbing in your car, I'm kind of looking everywhere else in the car so they can't see me, because it's a little strange to be sitting in your car alone and sobbing. Number 7, a book that you really love has just come out with a sequel, but you've forgotten what the original book was about. What do? Do you reread the book, look it up on Goodreads, cry in frustration, just give up? Honestly, this is the reason I haven't finished a lot of the trilogies and series that I've started, because there's just such a long time between when they come out, and there's so many other new things to read, and I've been let down by so many second books, probably for this exact reason, that I don't remember what happened in the first and I've lost the magic of the world. However, in a few circumstances, I will start reading the second book and then try to kind of put myself in the world, and then I'll go back and I'll read reviews and look up synopses and things like that so I can try to remember what's going on. I can't say though that I've ever cried in frustration, so I guess that's a point for me. Number 8, you do not want anyone to borrow your books. How do you politely tell them no? Yeah, my copy of The Fault in Our Stars and Looking for Alaska and several other things were lent out a couple years ago, and nobody will claim that they are the ones that have them. So I get this, especially because those are both signed copies, like John Green signed copies of those books. So I've kind of learned my lesson that I'm just going to hold on to my books and not lend them out to anyone. I get away with this as an academic because I can say, oh, I'm about to write a paper on that book, or I need that book to show to my YA Lit class. So there's like, even though I'm not currently reading it, there's something I'm holding it for, and I don't want to lend it out to anyone. And my friends all know that, so they believe me, and actually like 95% of the time it's true. So that's what I do. Number 9, reading ADD. You've picked up 5 books in the past month. How do you get over your reading slump? I don't think that picking up 5 books in a month is an abnormal number for me. I'm probably reading 5 books right now. Though I am currently in a little bit of a reading slump. I'm reading The Winter's Curse, which is very slow going on the audiobook, and another really boring audiobook in my car, and then I'm trudging through something else. Sometimes when that happens, I have to set all of those aside and go for whatever that book is that's been calling my name and read it and do that whole like read it in a single sitting thing. And that'll usually break me out of things. Or the other thing I do is I set like a Saturday morning, I get up with my coffee and I say, I'm going to take 3 hours and I'm just going to finish this damn book. And I read it from beginning to end, or from the 50% mark to the end, and feel accomplished for the day. At that point, then I can generally allow myself to pick something a little more fun to read, and that will break the reading slump as well. Number 10, there are so many new books coming out that you're just dying to read. How many do you actually buy? The answer to that one is easy in 2015 because it's 0. I'm not buying any new books. I'm on a book buying ban. Number 11, after you've bought the books that you can't wait to get to, how long do they sit on your shelf before you read them? Like a year? Yeah, I'm really good at getting books and then waiting a really long time to read them. Okay, so those are my answers to the questions for the Reader Problems book tag. I don't really have anyone to tag because I'm just starting in this community, so if you see this video and you want to do the tag, you're welcome to do it. The questions are down below, so you can make your own video, or I guess if you're a book blogger, you could respond to the questions on your book blog. That would be great. I would love to read those. Let me know that you've done it in the comments, and I'd love to stop by and see your answers to the questions as well. Question number 1, why did I start this channel? I started this channel because I've been a blogger on WordPress for 4 years, and